was just watch them celebrate. It's going to be unfortunate for us, but it'll be a great tool for motivation moving forward. And anytime that we think things are getting hard, and those days where you're not up for practicing a shoot around or a game, we'll just remember that moment, and that'll help us, get put a little pep in our step.
Now, last season, of course, you went to the NBA Finals, but you said recently you felt like last year had more lows than highs. How so? What did you mean by that?
Everything was just tough. For me, it was a huge transition period because I went from coming from Toronto, coming from a place where nobody really paid attention, and we didn't get that many wins. Coming into a situation like last year, we did have a good record. We were the number 2 seed in the East, and it seemed like we lost more games than we won, as crazy as it sounds. But just the first year being under that microscope, it was really different. And there were a lot of criticisms around, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and I truly believe that, and it's made me a better person.
You really were not accustomed to that criticism, to that scrutiny, Chris, to any of that at all. Did it sting and did it hurt?
Yeah, at times it hurt, because in my position I was thinking, why is it like this? All I ever wanted to do was play basketball. I think everybody was like that on the team, but we just had to focus on what our job was, and we just had to play basketball. And that was really my first time being in a position like that. And it's hard to explain because nobody can really understand it until it happens to you. So just seeing that every day and kind of not being able to really transition very quickly like I wanted to, it was real tough. It was a bunch of tough situations, but as an individual, I pulled through it, and as a team, we pulled through it, but we just came up a little short.
Chris, it seems like LeBron was saying something similar earlier in the week when he said, I've never worn that black hat before. I was always in a place where people liked me, people wanted to see me. I never went through something like this before, and it was tough to deal with. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I look at you, I look at him. You guys aren't big chip on the shoulder guys. You guys aren't guys that seem like you feed off that fuel. Do you? Or do you need to be more like that? How do you approach it going forward?
Well, I think you have to be more like that now. I think we as a team have to be more like that because things are going to happen. Things like that happen whether you're used to it or not. And it's up to us to adjust. And, all we have to do is go out and play basketball. We know that every night we step on the court, we're going to get a team's best. We're going to get a packed crowd, and they're going to want to see us lose. And, that's a matter of fact. So we have to put that chip on our shoulder because it's going to be there. I think the environment is always going to be set up for that. And it's on us to really use it as fuel. We've never been there before, but things happen. You have to change and grow as a player and a person to deal with it, especially trying to get to where we want to go. We're going to have to put that hat on and wear it well.
I see you're armed with that knowledge, and you go to the postseason and the offseason with that knowledge. I should say the offseason. What did you do to get your game and even your head to the next level to get ready for what's ahead of you?
Well, I just looked at my weaknesses, looked at everything that I couldn't do right, and I just worked on it. I went out seeking knowledge of guys that have won championships before because they have what I want. So I talked to a bunch of guys. I got different opinions from different people. I found out the information I wanted to find out, and then it was on me to put the work in over the summer, get stronger, develop my skills a lot more, watch a lot of film, see what other teams did to me that kind of slowed my process, and just really get a lot better as a player. And I think I did that this summer. I worked extremely hard, and I have to continue working extremely hard throughout the season to stay polished. And like we said before, we've got to play with that chip on our shoulder and be aggressive and just see what happens and compete as much as possible.
It seems like that big three, it's a process you guys had to work through. You had to learn to play together. You had to get the right spacing. And then you had to figure out who was going to finish games. Ultimately, is Dwayne Wade the finisher, or does it come down to who has the hot hand? Who's going to get that last shot going forward?
Well, I think that's a great thing about our team. We have so much talent to where we can kind of go with the hot hand. But, Dwayne, I think he's proved even before we got here that, he's not afraid of the big moment. And, even though we have a huge talented team, I think Dwayne, he's one of our best guys, and LeBron as well. So, I think we're in a position where we can kind of choose, who has the hot hand at that time. But I think that's a good position to be in. It's a good problem to have, and like we said before, we're just gonna learn as much as possible, learn from last year, and see what happens. We're gonna have many late game situations again, and we're just gonna have to keep testing things out, and we're gonna roll with what works.
Hey, Chris, last thought, you talked about your game and what you did to get to the next level. What do you think LeBron did to get his game to the next level, and what do you expect from him next year?
Well, he said that he's been down there in the post working a lot, and I think that's a huge area that he can really work to his advantage because he's big, he's strong, and he can handle the ball. But I think that next step for him is really getting down in that post and really working on his footwork. Working on classic post moves because that only develops his game a lot more. And I think each offseason, great players have told me you have to add things to your game. And I think that's one thing that he can really add that'll take his game to the next level.
Hey, Chris, it's been a minute or two. Great to have you back on the show. Thanks for the conversation.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Good to have you. All right. When we come back, we'll have more on the Albert Pujols deal.